All right, this is TigerTanker and TigerTanker Studios. We are going to discuss kind of a long-term review on his 2020 Husqvarna TE300i.
Great. So today is December 22nd. August 1st, I bought this bike. Made a video in my office here about setting the bike up, and a lot of people have watched that. And so after almost 1,000 miles in the last 4 months, I want to talk a little bit about what my overall impression of this bike is. So let's just start with the front. The suspension's amazing. It's sprung for my weight, but it works really good. The braking on the bike, the stock brake pads were terrible. I put the red EBCs on, have had no problems at all with them. The upgraded Cyclops bulb in this thing has been awesome. I've done some night rides with it, with the Nachtjagers. Really, really good stuff. I put the gnarly pipe on it after running the stock expansion chamber on it, and I really like the way this bike runs better with this expansion chamber. The low end is better. We ride very, very technical slow moves. I have the stock one, which is a very fancy product, but frankly, the upgraded muffler expansion chamber has been a real godsend.
So you just prefer the low end of the gnarly for what we're doing around here?
Absolutely, yeah. I seem to be going between 1350 and 1352 in the gearing of the bike. At 1350, I'm able to do 60 miles an hour, which is nice to have. In the super technical things, the 52 really helped. And being that you can just simply flip the blocks, I don't have to adjust the chain at all. All I do is flip the blocks and it's done. This bike has been in some serious accidents, and I broke the under fender, and so I got rid of the license plate here, put it up top, and then also sheared off this part of the under fender so that if the bike is flipping or ghost biking, it doesn't snap the spine of this here. It's a real pain in the butt to replace that, so this has worked out really good. I've been pulled over by law enforcement once, not related to the plate being here, but they made no mention of it being here, so they didn't have a problem with it. This smaller can... I really like the smaller muffler. That's just nice to have. Hard to believe, but 1 liter of oil looks like it's going to make it 1,000 miles. I mean, I think this thing's burning at like 90 to 1.
Yeah.
The bike is really quiet compared to the older two-strokes. I got to think that it's dropped at least 15 decibels, so meaningfully more quiet, and virtually no smoke at all. We've all followed somebody that has a pretty smoky two-stroke. You don't follow something like that for a few hours, and you feel almost sick to your stomach. But there's no obnoxious smoke coming out of the bike.
A lot less vibration too in these newer.
Oh, it's absolutely smooth. Oh, the bike, is a little bit shorter than the older versions and a little bit more compact. You can feel it. The bike is super manageable. And I mean, I'm 6 foot tall. The bike doesn't feel too short by any means. It feels, very capable. One thing that I noticed on this bike that was way better than my 16300 was the traction. Instantly, it was like, wow, this thing is just lugging and tractoring up hills, in a meaningfully different way. There's this map switched here too, and so between the 50 and 52 tooth sprocket, I can also play with the 1 and 2 settings of here to kind of dial in how I want the low end performance to be. For me, I've seen videos, it's very misleading. You got to check it for yourself, but I've found that the number 2 map setting has more performance at the very, very first crack of the throttle. Supposedly, on the high end of the throttle at higher speeds, the number 1's more powerful, but I'm actually finding that the 2 map setting for me gives it a more responsive amount. And in tight woods, I don't want that. I want it to be a little softer, but it's just nice to being able to adjust it. So if you have this bike or you're going to get this bike, play around with it a little bit and see whatever works best for you. But it does add a component of variability to it. So and the power of the bike, the power delivery is very small. I'm a 4-stroke guy, And this bike really appealed to me as a four-stroke lover. This has all the attributes of a four-stroke without some of the attributes that I disliked about a two-stroke. The TPI with the on-the-fly metering, you know, we're riding stuff here that we're oftentimes going up or down 3,000 or 4,000 feet. And, you know, one month it's 80, 90 degrees here. Today it's 40 degrees here. It's really wet now. It can be dry. And so for somebody like me that's not mechanically inclined to not have to fiddle with jetting and tuning of the bike is literally flawless out of the box. There was a map upgrade to it, and they resolved some issue with the metering of this thing, and ever since that's been done, this thing absolutely runs perfect.
So you haven't had to do anything besides change the gear oil and add two-stroke mix?
Yeah. And compared to the four strokes that I've had where the tuning is such a major issue, this is a good thing. I have 3 bikes, and I'm selling one of the bikes, but my 450 that I have, you know, it's not going to get as much seat time because this bike is incredibly fun to ride and very, very capable.
One thing that I find with these 300s versus the old carb bikes is just how low they'll lug without dying. I mean, you never have a flame
Absolutely. That is, this thing, it's like it has a recluse clutch in it. It's almost impossible to stall. There are some times when I want to kill the engine because I'm going down something really steep, and it's actually sometimes really hard to get the engine to stop.
Yep.
But, you know, we've all been in those situations where we got a nasty obstacle to overcome, and maybe you're a little out of gear, and then the bike dies on you. It's really frustrating. This bike just keeps going.
Yep.
So, if you're looking at getting a new bike, and maybe you're a four-stroke guy, all I can say is you are not going to regret buying this bike. This is the greatest off-road dirt bike that's ever been made. And